All right. So welcome to the Kentucky Virtual Library session on finding magazines and journals today. We'll take probably maybe 20 minutes to go over some of the tips and tricks on how you can find magazines and journals and where to look. And as I said, please stop me with questions. I'm happy to answer any questions as we go along. But first, I always have to do a little housekeeping. Passwords did change July 1st. So if you don't have your district's password yet for the new year, go to the padlock. Why is it not going to the padlock? Okay, that's fascinating. Something that should be, oh, I'm logged in. Okay, go to the padlock. You get a login page. I've already logged in, so I'm not getting it. I apologize. Click the request password button, put in your district email address, and then the new ID and password will be emailed to you, and only the password has changed. The old ones will be active until September 15th. That's when we will turn them off. So there should be plenty of time for transition. The other thing I want to show you is under the librarian's toolbox. So for librarians, librarian's toolbox, under handouts and outlines. When the whole COVID thing started, I took an opportunity to do a few things. I've created, and I did tweet about this and post it to the LMS listserv, so you've probably seen the announcement about this, but just in case you haven't, there are scavenger hunts for students. So there's K through 2, 3 through 5, middle, and high. And if you don't like them, the Word version is out there, so you're more than welcome to take what I've created and modify it down, or do a question a day for a week or something like that. My youngster is about to turn 10, so he's going into 5th grade, and my recollection of what K through 2 can do is a little fuzzy. So just let me know if I need to modify those, or feel free to make your own changes. The other thing I want to show you is the K-12 resources overview poster. An announcement went out a couple weeks ago. We don't have Scholastic Go anymore, but we do have this EBSCO K through 8 ebooks collection, and we'll have Tumble Book Library through the school year, through next summer. So those have been added to the list, and then I've made the notations on what you can find. So with the K through 8 collection, there is a Google Classroom integration. You can have things read. And then, I've made notations for Teen Book Cloud and Tumble Book Library as well. Let's see. Tumble Book is K through 6. That's a great question. And then Teen Book Cloud is middle and high. But what's nice is Teen Book Cloud, both, I'm going to get off topic for a second. Tumble Book Library and Teen Book Cloud both have the Kate DiCamillo books. So you can grab those from either place, but they are easier to find in Tumble Book Library. And if you don't have plans for your 3:30 session, I will be doing a session just on ebooks and talking about those options. Okay. So back to this, and I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Where are my, okay. Elementary, middle, and high, these first 2 links, I have updated the quick reference handouts so that you see Tumble Book Library there. It's not everything that's available for elementary, but I am debating putting the K through 8 ebook collection in here. But just feedback on that would be great. So just let me know. But the handouts have been updated. EBSCO changed logos, so those have been updated on our website on the handouts. Yeah, Scholastic Go is gone forever. The collections work group did a cost per use analysis, and where Scholastic Go had maybe 40,000 uses, Britannica School had like 600,000. So I'm very sorry about that, but it's how we got Tumblebook Library. Okay. So what I'm going to do is go to quick search. Oh, one more question. Oh, great. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, quick search. So I use quick search a lot. It's here at the top of our page. And I'm going to give you some examples. So my son, doing NTI this spring, had to do a Google Slides presentation on a state. And so I had him look at Britannica School. I did have him look at Scholastic Go. And then I thought, well, I wonder if we have any ebooks or some other things that a traditional search wouldn't find. So I came up here, I went to 4Kids, I did Illinois, and while we're talking about magazines and journals, I do want to point out that that quick search will get you ebooks as well. So here's one on the Prairie State, which is one that we actually used. And then we did peruse this second one. We didn't get much further in the list because that was about as much as his attention span would hold. But what you can do over here on the right-hand side is do source types. And so you can click on magazines. So if you were interested about Chicago, you could do a Chicago search. This is just all kinds of things. It's covering sports quite a bit. And then some things that happened in the past, like, you know, some of these are back to 2018. So if you wanted more current information about Illinois, I love the date slider. So I'm going to slide the date and try to get some more current articles. And then I'm actually going to do date newest for relevance for sorting. What might work better is this middle school search. We had a county that was doing The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks as a class read. And so the students were doing research on HeLa cells and what vaccines had been developed from the HeLa cells that had been harvested from Henrietta Lacks.
What stuff? I saw my stuff from downstairs.
All right, everybody make sure you're muted if you don't have a question.
From moving.
So there are some academic journals here, but we are going to click on magazines and filter out those more academic titles.
And now I'm about to go to sleep.
Hey everybody, just make sure you're muted. Oh, and my it's a little locked up. Well, why aren't you, oh, it's working. I think my son is suddenly playing video games. Having a little bit of internet issues. But I promise you, in a perfect world, what comes up here is an encyclopedia article, and then you can sort by magazine articles. But let's just go down here. Here's one, Recipe for Immortality. I'm just going to do it again. Stop that one. Well, that's not very promising. Well, I'm sorry, folks. I'm not sure why my internet is being twitchy. It's been fine all day, but my son did just get home, so that is probably what's going on. Hold on, 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I had to put the kibosh on the son's internet. Okay, so let's see if it's still a little laggy. Yeah, it certainly is. Okay, so we'll just skip through this, but just know that you can filter by magazines, you can filter by date, and what's really nice, let me see here, let's see if this will come up. There is Google Classroom integration, and as I understand it, that's been a pretty hot topic this summer among all kinds of folks about embedding resources into Google Classroom so that, students aren't sharing textbooks, they're not sharing paper, they're not passing things amongst themselves. So you can do a Google Classroom ad. So I can add this, create an assignment, make an announcement, create material, and throw the PDF into my Google Classroom. So I wanted to be sure that you saw that. Okay, I'm going to move on to publication title search. Oh, sorry. Let me clear this out. I don't have to choose anything. All I really want to do is just click go. I don't have to do a search or anything. And publication title search is in the blue bar at the top of the page. So here's publication title search, and it is just what it sounds like. You can browse, but I personally don't find that very helpful. So maybe if I was looking for short stories, here are some different publications. So we've got short story writers, the Hemingway short story, the Columbia Companion to 20th Century American Short Story. So I can pull this up and it will show me where this title lives. Now this in particular is an ebook, but you could also search by short story titles and potentially find them in the publications within KYVL. So I know when my son was younger, we subscribed to some different early reader, not, they weren't really magazines, they were small and I kind of forget what they were. But they had cute stories, and it was always the same title of the story because it was a series about two friends. And so if you had something like that, you could do a search and see if that short story came up. Something else you can do if you're looking to see what Scholastic titles we have. Scope is popular, Science World, Choices, Dynamath. I love being able to do this because let's look at Scholastic News. So here are all the different editions of Scholastic News. And then I can do two things. If somebody told me about a particular article that was in Scholastic News, I could do a search. If I want to, I can search for COVID and see it may be under, let's see if it's under coronavirus. And it's thinking, here we go. So for this, we just have two. We've got one from, both from March, and then we've got some videos. But if I look at the PDF of this one from March, it looks just like the original out of the publication. I can also go to a particular issue. So if I go back to publication title search and do Scholastic News, click on the title, and then it says full text access. And it will tell you what database you'll find Scholastic News in. And in this scenario, there's 3. And that's pretty typical with the Scholastic titles. They're in more than one database for K-12. So I might go to primary search. And then from here, I can do 2 things. My search within is still here, although I always feel like this is kind of hidden over here on the left. But then I can open up a particular issue. So of course we don't have anything for the summer, but if I wanted to go back and see what was happening with May or when school starts up, I could pull up that particular issue and then browse what's in the issue. Let's look at the record for it. Now with this one, it's not, I find sometimes I need to check with EBSCO to make sure that Google Classroom is turned on everywhere that it should be, because Google Classroom should pop up here. But in the short term, you can throw it to Google Drive, or you can add it to your folder. So maybe you're working on a project and you're looking for particular topics. You might find 3 or 4 different articles on a topic. If you work within the same web browser session, you can throw them into your folder, do a select all, and then go over here to email. And then you can email them to yourself or to somebody else. And you can also choose the citation format. So if you have older students working on a research project, and if for some reason Google Classroom is acting funny or they can't get logged in, there's a variety of scenarios. They can always email themselves the articles as PDFs. And then that just pops into their inbox, and each email is a separate PDF article. Oh, chat, hang on. Yes, you can, Nicole, and let me show you what to do. I'm not familiar with Seesaw, but over here, when you're looking at the article, there's this link icon over on the right-hand side under Tools. And this is the permalink that you would need to use to embed it. Everybody is still going to have to log in, though. We can't bypass that because that breaks our contracts, and the content providers just aren't set up. They're not going to want to give free access to articles to anybody who has a link. But as long as you pull this this permalink, you can do that embedding as you need to, for sure. Okay. A couple other things I want to show you. It just on. Ah, there's my kid hiding back there. Oh, this one. Okay. Just to make you aware of some of the magazines that we have, Scholastic Dynamath combines literacy and math questions. So it's 3rd through 5th grade. So I'm going to go into primary search, and I just want to show you one of them. I'll look at 2020, May, June. And I'm going to look for a longer article. All right. So Brothers Go the Distance, a teen triathlon racer never leaves his brother behind. My guy, we had trouble a couple years ago. He was supposed to read every day for 20 minutes, and he was a reluctant reader. And then after trial and error, after about 6 months of drama every day, determined that he liked nonfiction and poetry. He was not a fan of fiction. So I discovered Scholastic Dynamath, and it was just amazing because he loved reading these articles about real things. And you can see it looks like the original. And then he would answer math questions. So again, that's 3 through 5, but 3rd through 5th grade. But there's also the science news and some other things. I'm going to stop if I can. Uh-oh. Shoot. Sorry about that, folks. I don't know how I lost the screen share. I'm not sure where I lost you, but this is Scholastic Dynamath. And I just did that publication title search looking for Scholastic Dynamath. And so here's the article that looks like the original. And then here at the end are the math questions. There are some that are half-page articles with questions. They're different lengths. So it doesn't have to be a big commitment like this one is, where it's multiple pages. Does anybody have questions? Oh, I see lots of chat. It's probably telling me that you lost the screen. The only way you can do that to look at an entire issue is over here on the left. You can flip through the table of contents. And that will take you through the magazine. We don't have Flipster or anything like that where you can flip through it. I'm going to stop. And does anybody have any other questions? I want to give you time to get to your next session. Oh, I'm excited about Tumble Books too. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. I hope you've had an awesome day. It's summer refresher.